Okay, this is going to be new books for Christmas and January. I've got a lot of fiction here, mostly fiction, but I've got a few little random other things. I'll start with this one. You may have seen just the video, the previous video. Here's the basic writings of Emerson. You may know Emerson, famous essayist. I'm not sure what his time period is. I imagine it's 19th century England. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So he's 19th century. I just read a little bit from this book. This is a collection of his essays, the basic writings, in the previous video on books, if you want to check that out. Okay, here's another random one. This was $1, so that's why the only reason I really got it. Radical Durkheim, second edition. Durkheim's a social theorist, sociology, that kind of stuff. Fairly contemporary. I think he was active in, I think it's mid-20th. I'm not sure. I think it's mid-20th. He's called a post-structuralist. This probably doesn't mean anything to most people. It doesn't mean much to me either. Here's The Final Days. This is by Bob Woodward and the Bernstein. Of course, this is about Nixon, President of the United States, or was. His final days. I think it was also $1. Yeah, it was $1. It's $1, so. All right, I'll do the fiction last, I guess. Here's Livy, The Rise of Rome, book 1 to 5. This is essentially History of Rome by Livy, which I assume was a Roman. I don't know. I assume he was, though. But this will be nice to flip through one day. I've got quite a few books on the classics, the antiquity, ancient Greece and Rome. I probably don't need any more, but I guess it was reasonable enough. It was $2.50, so. Okay, here's a few education books. I just recently got this one. How to Read a Book by, where's the author? It is Adler. Mortimer J. Adler. You may know Adler. He is part of the liberal arts tradition. He constructed what's called the Great Works. He has a whole selection of books on books to read, so to speak. So I have a few. I showed them in a previous video. You've probably seen it. Little book on literature, what to read. So read this little piece from the Bible, and you do that, and then he talks about it and what's significant about it. Or books, book on Plutarch, Selected Lives, which was a Roman biographer. Or Aristotle's philosophy, politics, not metaphysics, ethics, Aristotle's ethics, Plato's apology, all kinds of philosophy. So he puts together curriculum, really, a curriculum for the liberal arts if you want to be, if you want to have a liberated mind. Well, some would say if you want to have a liberated Western mind, but that's a whole other discussion. That's a recent book, by the way. Actually, I think it was written in the 50s and then it was reprinted. I just got this in the mail a couple days ago. America Revisited by FitzGerald. This is about the accuracies in the history textbooks that are used, I guess, in the States. I thought this was interesting because I've got another book on textbooks in general, but I'm also interested in what kinds of textbooks are used in schools and the kinds of censorship processes that might go on. Because, of course, publishers are only going to make a textbook, really, that is going to be saleable. They don't care if it's necessarily accurate. Their prime motive is that schools will pick it up and buy sets for their school boards, right? So I'm curious about that. So that's what that book's about. Okay, one more, and then we're on to a lot of fiction. Here's I've been looking to get for a long time. I finally got around to it. I had a nice gift card for Christmas, so I grabbed this. Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics. This is the 4th edition and probably the last. I don't think he's even writing anymore. I think he's done with that. This is a huge book on basics of economics. So I'll get into this someday. Interestingly enough, there's no graphs and tables and stuff. I thought there'd be lots of it. It isn't. It's all text. So that's fine. Okay, now on to lots of fiction. I'll start with, I guess I'm starting with modern and going right down to classic. And then I've got sci-fi behind me. I don't want to forget that. Got some sci-fi behind me too. Okay, here's The Secret Garden by Burnett. I've been looking for a book that I read in elementary school, and I don't know if this is it or not, but I thought it might be. I'm hoping it is. I remember it's about a farm, some kind of apple farm, and there was some like secret hideout that these kids would get into. And that's all I remember about it. It's like I thought the title had farm in it. So I don't know if this is it, but we'll find out. I'm hoping it is. Here's We by some guy. I don't know how you even pronounce that. Zamyatin. This is supposed to be about a little bit like Orwell, 1984, or Brave New World by Huxley, in terms of what happens when the identity of what happens when individuals are erased from society, and there becomes this kind of hive mind, collectivism, groupthink, mob activity. I don't know who controls the mob. Usually it's the government who tries to control the mob. So I don't know, but anyways, it is a dystopia. So I'm very interested. I guess people read this also in university courses as I guess sci-fi. I don't know. Is that? I guess that would be sci-fi. Maybe it's sci-fi. I don't know. Here's Agatha Christie's Murder in the Orient Express. On the Orient Express. Classic murder novel. You gotta know. You need to know what this is. Everyone needs to know. Agatha Christie, Orient Express. Staple. I just picked it up, but of course I knew about it for a long time. I just never got around to finding a copy, and so now I have one, so I'll be glad to get into that someday. Here's Charlotte's Web. Some people probably read that in elementary school. It's about a farm. It's about different animals, and they talk, and I don't know if they talk to the girl or not. I think they probably do. But it was there really cheap, and it was $1. And I thought, okay, I'll have this. It's got pictures in it. It's about Wilbur the pig and the spider, which is Charlotte. The spider talks. The spider's nice. Here's, so I'm getting into more classical stuff. Here's Dostoyevsky's, I don't know how to pronounce it very well. The Possessed. It's supposed to be a good one. It was $2. I've got also The Devils by him. So I'm collecting some of his other books. Of course, his most famous are Crime and Punishment, The Idiots, and The Brothers Karamazov. But I thought, I have read Crime and Punishment. The Possessed, I don't know. Hopefully it's a good one. Okay. Here's another sort of familiar one that people may know, The Trial by Kafka. First Kafka book I have, and I got around to getting it. I should tell you though, you may notice a bit of a trend with some of the publishers here. See these Dover thrift editions. They're very good. I've got, for example, Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra was Dover, and lots of other ones that you've seen already, like the Confucius and the Notes from the Underground. Those were Dover. They're cheap copies. You can get them off Amazon for like $2. So, for example, I don't know if it's the same for the States, but in Canada, you need $25 of stuff in your shopping cart. You get free shipping. And so, if you want a couple books, but you're at like 23 or 22, you can add a couple of these nice ones, and they're nice classical fiction that you're probably going to get anyways, and you can bump up your order to over 25, and then you're good to go, right? The free shipping. So. That's why I've got this one, and they've been good. I haven't had any complaints about Dover's editions. All right, here's Virginia Woolf. This is supposed to be her most famous work, Mrs. Dalloway. I guess it's about feminism, but this is like a classical feminism. Some of the first feminist literature that came out was Virginia Woolf. So we'll see how this goes. It'll be interesting. But if I'm going to have any Virginia Woolf, then I want the best. So this is supposed to be the best, so we'll see how that goes. Here's another Dover. Kipling's Kim. It's supposed to be a good one. It's supposed to have a good, about a hero? I guess a lot of them are about heroes. At least the authors, what the author believes the hero is. This Kim was supposed to be a good one, though. I've got a recommendation, so it was also like $2.75 or something, so I believe that was another one that I bumped up the order. This one too, actually. The World's Greatest Short Stories. It's got all kinds of authors in it. All kinds of their random. There's Hemingway, for example. There's James Joyce, Kafka, and then there's some down here. Kipling, Tolstoy, right, etc. All kinds of their random, less famous but short stories. A lot of pages. There was 240 pages here of little short stories. So I thought that was worth having. Looks like the stories go from 30 pages to 7 pages. So there's 9 pages, 5 pages. Yeah. That'll be great. I can just flip through that. Oh, there's John Updike's in there, Ernest Hemingway. I can just pick up one of those for a quick 5-minute read. Nice little short story. Kind of nice. Nice sample. Okay. Here is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. There's a classic. You may know Bronte from Wuthering Heights. I actually had to read that in high school. So that, I think, is our next famous. Is Jane Eyre? I don't know how you pronounce that. Here's Hermann Hesse's. This is another Dover. Siddhartha. This is supposed to be about Indian spiritualism. It's fiction, but it's supposed to be some kind of like spiritual journey in India or whatever. It's supposed to be good, and it was another one of those like $2 ones that pushed the order. So, got that one. Here is Joseph Conrad, another classic. Heart of Darkness, I already have, but I don't have his Tales of Unrest, which are actually tales. So they're many short stories. So I've got Conrad's short stories in here too. Apparently Heart of Darkness is supposed to be about the evils of colonialism. So we'll have to see about that. Alright, here's some big ones. These I actually got for Christmas. Edgar Allan Poe. I hope that's not dark for you. Looks dark. Complete Tales and Poems. Very nice compilation. Rather than buying a whole bunch of little paperbacks, I can just have this. So this will be all of Edgar Allan Poe's stuff. I thought I had oh no, I have Alexander Pope. I have one of his poetry. Yeah, there it is right there. But not Poe. I don't think I have any of his stuff. So, got that now. And the other one is Mark Twain. Mark Twain, big one. This has got illustrations in it. You may remember I've got big anthologies on H.G. Wells and, what's the other one? Jules Verne. I probably showed you that. And it's got pictures drawn in here. I'll show you one of them. So there's all of, maybe I'll just quickly tell you what's in here. So there is Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Everyone will probably know that one. A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. I don't know what that is. The Prince and the Pauper. People probably know what that is. And then it's short stories. So, and it's got illustrations in it. So I'll show you one of them. So that's neat. Although I also remember saying in that other video with the H.G. Wells and Jules Verne, illustrations can sometimes be a negative because rather than envisioning the whole story in your head and getting your own ideas of what characters look like, take Harry Potter, which is coming up. Rather than envisioning what Harry might look like, what Hermione might look like, if you have illustrations, now you're a little stuck in what they look like, don't you? Or a movie. I read all the Harry Potter books and then I sold them all off because I didn't think I'd ever read them. And even at that time, I had no interest in reading. I think I started reading the Harry Potter books before the 7th came out. Maybe even before the 6th came out. And I just read them all pretty much together. I have no idea why I started reading them. But I did. I don't even know how I got even reading now, actually. But anyways, here's number 1. I found these for cheap. They were $2 each. There's one, Book 1, Philosopher's Stone. Book 2, Chamber of Secrets. Book 3, Prisoner of Azkaban. I picked those up because they were $2 each, cheap. I don't know if I'll read them again. I probably won't. But they're nice to have, especially for kids. And what was I going to say about that? Oh, I read them all before the movies came out. And then I went to the first movie. I had a different vision of what Harry might look like and Hermione might look like and Ron. But then you see the movie and it's like, oh, that's what they look like. I guess that's it. Done. Oh well. But of course, I'll just say one more thing about Harry Potter and the movies. Dumbledore, the original Dumbledore, was the best Dumbledore. Unfortunately, he died. And then we have, what was it, movie 3? There was the new guy. I think it was movie 3. Oh well. He had big shoes to fill and no one could fill them. Okay, here's Sci-fi. Yep, here's Sci-fi. Isaac Asimov, Foundation. You may know the Foundation series. I've been annoyed by people telling me that I need to try the first one. So I finally found a copy of it, the very first one. There's quite a few in the series. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 in the Foundation series. So whenever I get around to it, I will try the Foundation series. I have book 1 and now I'm able to try it. Here's Flatland by Abbott. It's supposed to be good. It's about a 2-dimensional universe, and I don't know. It's supposed to be weird, but it's recommended. So I saw a copy, $2. So I'll have it for $2. Here's The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. Funny enough, it wasn't up there. It wasn't in the anthology, so this is a Dover too. Another Dover there. So I'll take that. So apparently it's actually a difficult read, I heard, Time Machine. It's supposed to be difficult. But anyways, it's short. It's only not even 80 pages. So that'll be quick. Probably 2 sittings, I'll be done. If it's difficult, 2 sittings. Alrighty, here is Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth. This is a mother. Although apparently, I guess I didn't know this, typically fantasy are big like this. I just ran across a couple friends' libraries that had this kind of stuff, and they're all this size and big like this, big books, and often hardcover if they want to pay that, which I don't, so I don't buy that stuff. I found this though for $4. I was recommended Pillars of the Earth. It's supposed to be a good one from Follett. Follett actually has quite a few novels, so I will get into this someday. I'm also looking for the Time Machine. Wheel of Time. Wheel of Time series is supposed to be good. I've been looking for it. Been looking for book 1. Haven't seen it yet. So when I do, then I'll get it. Okay, last one. Perhaps the most interesting, for me anyways, of the books. It's called Sophie's World by Gardner with a double A there. An Adventure in Philosophy. Yeah, An Adventure in Philosophy. Quickly before I get into the book, annoyingly, I ordered this online for, I don't know, it was $7 maybe, let's say it's 7. I saw it in one of the used bookstores I go to for probably 4, so oh well. I didn't think I'd ever see this, so that's why I got it online. This is fiction, but it actually talks about philosophy and the ideas of philosophy in fiction. What a fantastic idea. Who else has done that? You should better tell me if you've watched enough of my videos. Perhaps the only other author who's really done that. So that's going to be a great one, because of course I'm very interested in philosophy. And if you can put it in a nice fiction, and you can make it swallowable, then hey, not for me I mean, but for other people, that's great, because some of that stuff people really need to know and really need to think about, because it surrounds your activities in the world, especially politics. Okay, that is books for January. I am getting more in, actually, funny enough. There are some books I'm getting in that are more about economics, I guess, and politics. Kind of big book orders. So I don't know when they'll be in though. It'll probably be another week and a half at least. But anyways, then it'll be near into February anyway. So okay, that's it for books for this month. Leave any comments, any recommendations, anything I said that was incorrect, any other books you recommend, or if you've read these books, what do you think of them, and all that's great.